Underage drinking is getting new attention this morning after a ruling by the California Supreme Court. If the host of a party charges admission, they can be held legally responsible for the behavior of a drunken minor. That decision follows a 2007 tragedy in Diamond Bar outside Los Angeles.
A college student was killed after being hit by a drunk driver who had just been kicked out of a party. It was hosted by a 20-year-old woman at her parents' house. Now she can be sued, even though she was also underage. CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford is with us. Good morning.
Morning, Charlie.
So explain the law on this.
Well, what's interesting is in a lot of other states, if you host a party and somebody gets drunk and goes out and causes an accident, not only are they responsible, but you can be responsible. But back then, when this happened, that was not the law in California. So in California, if you were a bar or a restaurant and you served a minor and they went out and caused an accident, you could be responsible, but not if it was just your home. What the California Supreme Court did here is they said, well, here's what we're going to do. Because the teenager here, the young woman, was taking some money from people, we are going to view her the same way we would view a bar or a restaurant. Clearly, the California Supreme Court was looking for some way to assess liability here, saying, okay, not only the driver, but also the young girl, and by extension, her parents through their insurance. So what they did is they created now a new area of responsibility in this, what they call social hosting. Now, California has done some things with the laws since this accident happened, but they're still not where a lot of states are, which is basically, if you have a party, you can be responsible if one of your patrons, so to speak, goes out and causes an accident.
I think many people may not realize that 28 states have these social host laws, and so what essentially do these laws do? You can be held accountable.
They do, and some states though have resisted. California was one that said, look, we're going to have people be responsible for their own conduct. So the driver who causes the accident, you're going to be responsible, not me because I served you at a house party at my house. But as you said, many other states, and they've done this for decades, have said, we're going to extend this because we want to send a message to people saying, even if it's your own home, if you're not a bar or restaurant,
but the
you
parents
have to be
weren't home, though, Jack. So do you think that this is a huge wake-up call or red flag for the parents? They weren't there.
A lot of times what you see in the civil lawsuits is they'll say parents either knew or you should have known.
Yeah.
And we're going to hold you responsible as a parent for the conduct of your minor child because that's your job, especially if it's on your property.
What do you say to some parents that say, listen, I'd rather have my children drinking at home with me because then I can keep track of them?
I always thought that was bizarre. You know, growing up as a parent, unfortunately, my kids are older now. You got little ones and you're going to have that. I mean, they might say that, but the law is saying in a lot of states to them, if you're going to do that just because you think that's a good thing to do and a friend type of thing to do, you might still be responsible if some of those kids go out and cause, some sort of an accident or problems afterwards.
All right, Jack Ford, thank you.
All right, Mark.